Hello, welcome to Just Prime. As part of this video, we are going to see the basic difference between list and tuple in Python. So before going to this difference, so as per the previous video, we have seen about different data types which is available inside the Python and with these examples. Now we are going to deep dive into the differences between list and tuple. So the basic differences between list and tuple we can see. So these are the basic 7 differences between a list and tuple. So we are going to see each one with an example. So how the difference looks like exactly between list and tuple with an example. So let's get started by just opening a. So this is the Jupyter notebook. With the help of Jupyter notebook, by writing a simple example, we will try to understand the differences between list and tuple. So if you don't have a Jupyter notebook setup, so we have seen in the my previous videos how to install the Jupyter notebook and how to configure it and how to use it. In case if you have not seen it, so I will recommend you to visit the installation setup, then come back to you, so then that will make sense to you. Okay, so now let's get started. The first difference, what is mentioned in the table of format, if you see, the first difference is a syntax, right? So the list will be declared with the help of square bracket, whereas in case of tuple will be declared with the parenthesis. So let me declare a simple list. So this is a list variable and we are going to use here parenthesis, so I can give elements. So this is the list. So basically list will be declared with the square brackets, whereas let me open another one. So list will be declared with the help of parenthesis, whereas in case of tuple will be declared with the help of parenthesis. So this is the tuple example. So this is the first difference. So basically the list will be declared with the help of square brackets, whereas in case of tuple will be declared with the help of parenthesis. So this is the declaration part, right? Now the second part. So before going to the second part, if you want to see the list elements, so you can come here, you can print list, we can see the list elements. Okay, let me make it this as a code. So now list will be declared with the help of square brackets, and if you want to see the elements, so you can use the print statement and you can pass the list variable declaration, then you can see the output as a list variable, list data. So similarly, if you want to see the tuple data, you can use print statement and then pass the tuple variable, then you can see the output. So this is the way you can declare the list with the help of square brackets and tuple with the parenthesis, and you can print these variables by just using the print statements. So these things we have seen in the previous videos. Okay, so now come back to the next one. So the next one is mutability. So mutability in the sense list can be mutable in the sense we can able to modify it, whereas in case of tuple, immutable, meaning we cannot modify it. Once you declare the tuple, you cannot add, remove nothing, you cannot do anything, whereas a list it can be modified. So that's what we can say, list is mutable, whereas in case of tuple, immutable. So how can you understand this example? So let's come back to here. So in this case, if you see here, we have declared a list element and we are printing it. Now let me modify the first index element with 3 3. So if you see, the first index is this 0 index element and this is the first index element. So the first index element I am overriding with 3 and then printing the elements. So to run this one, you can just click this one and you can see over here. So you can see the list, the first element got overridden 56 33. So this is the way you can modify the list. If you apply the same thing in case of tuple, what will happen? So here also we have index 0 1 67, and let's try to modify it. What will happen? So we can put here tup. Okay, So when you are trying to modify the tuple, it's saying tuple object not supported assignments, meaning it won't allow you to reassign any element changes. So that's the basic difference between list and tuple. List is mutable, whereas tuple is immutable. So we cannot modify the elements. Okay, tuple. So this is the basic difference. The second difference. So list is mutable, whereas tuple is immutable. So the third one is, what is the use case of list and tuple? So the use case of list is when you are keep modifying the data. So in that case you can go for list. When you don't want to modify the data, a fixed collections or dictionary of keys, in that case you can go for the tuple, right? When you want to modify the elements, keep on modifying the elements as a use case, then you go for the list. When in case of if you don't want to modify the feature, then you go for the tuple. So that's a use case. And the next fourth one is performance wise. So generally if you see about the list, it will take about the larger amount of memory footprint. So in this case it will become a slower some operations, whereas in case of tuple it's memory efficient, faster in the case, because it won't support too many operations. So in this case it's very memory usage case, it's efficient and it's very faster, whereas in case of list it will take larger amount of memory, so indirectly it will become a slow in terms of operations. So that's the performance. So overall we can say list is slower performance, whereas tuple is faster. So more memory consuming, whereas a list in case of tuple its memory is efficient, it will consume less memory. So there's a major difference between list and tuple in case of performance, right? So now come back to the fifth one. So the built-in methods. So these are the very important methods, we have to understand it when we are working with the list. If you see list, right, we have various methods is available, like as we discussed in the second point. So list is mutable in the sense we can modify the list, we can add the element, we can remove, we can sort, we can take out the last element, we can clear, reverse, we can do many operations, whereas in case of tuple we cannot do anything. So we are going to see all these methods, how we are going to use it one by one. So first we are going to see append. So if you come back to here, say for instance now we have a list here. Now if you want to append an element, so you can use an append and you can pass the element. So this element will be appended at the end, right? So far at the end you can see 0. Now I am trying to append 55 and then run it. So you can see, so append will be adding an element at the end. So that's the use case of append. So comment it out. Now come back to the second method. If you see, there is another method called remove. So remove, what it will do, it will try to remove an element. So let me try to remove. Okay, remove basically first let me try to run it, what will happen. So basically remove, so when we are trying to use the remove method, you have to pass the element which one you want to remove it. So you can pass the two. So basically, so when you are trying to pass the, when you are trying to use the remove, so you have to pass the number that is not an index, that is not an index, that is a number which is available inside the list, right? If you see, just now I passed a 2, 2 is not there in the list, so it's giving an error. So example, now I will pass as a 8, so 8 is present in the list. So what it will try to remove the 8 from the list, and then we are going to see the remaining elements. If you see here, right, so 8 is removed from the list and it is printing the remaining elements. So list is mainly used if you want to remove a specific element, then you can pass the element and then it will try to remove from the list. In case if it is not present in the list, then you will be getting X is not in the list. So this is the use case of list. Now let me rerun it again. Okay, so that is the second method, remove. Now come back to the third one, sort. So this sort is very useful if you want to sort the elements. Now if you see, our list elements is in random order, it's not in ascending, it's not in descending order. So if you want to sort the elements, then you can use list dot sort. Then it will sort the elements into ascending order and it will print it. If you see the elements here, 0, 8, 34, 56, it's in ascending order. So this is one use case. Say for instance, if you see, there is another element called sort reverse equal to true. So now as part of the default sort, it will sorting the elements in ascending order. If you want to sort the element in reverse order or descending order, you can use this one, sort, and pass the argument as reverse equal to true. So then what it will do, it will sort the elements in a descending order. Okay, so that's the usage of this variable, sort reverse equal to true, and then execute. If you see this one, it's printing the elements in a reverse order or descending order. So that's the usage of sort and reverse equal to true argument, right? The next one is pop. So what it will do, pop. So the pop will try to remove at the end element. Say for instance, if you want to remove a last element, see now the last element is 0. If you want to remove the last element, then you can use a pop method and don't pass anything, and then it will try to remove the last element alone. If you try to execute 2 times, what will happen? Then it will try, it keep removing the last element. First it will remove the 0, and then it will remove the next last element 8, and the remaining elements 34, 56 it will display. So that is the basic difference, but the basic usage of pop. Okay, so now we are going to see another use case. Say for instance, now I want to remove a specific index element. Instead of last element, I want to remove the second element or first index element. Then you can pass the index, whichever element you want to remove it, right? Okay, now let me run it. So now what will happen when I use a pop method? If you pass index number, it will try to remove that particular index number 56. 1 is the index for 56, it got removed 56, and remaining elements it is printing. So that is the use case of pop. So the next or last before method is clear. Say for instance, if you want to remove all the elements, then you can use the clear. If you want to make empty your list, then go for clear. Clear will remove all elements from the list. See here, it removed all the elements. Okay, now this is the use case of clear. Now the last method in the list is reverse. So if you want to display the elements or change the elements order in a reverse, what is currently it is displaying. If you see, the first element is 34, second is 56, third is 8 and 0. If you make it reverse by using the function, it will change the position of the elements in a reverse order. Only position it will change. Okay, now when you change the position, it is 0 index, so it will go to the fourth index and 0 will come back to the first index. So that is the use case of reverse. You can see here, so 0 came into the first and 8 came into the second position. So that is the use case of reverse method, right? So these are the methods which are available inside the list, which can manipulate the data as well. Now come back to the tuple. Tuple, we don't have these many methods because in case of tuple we cannot modify the data. So that is the main difference. So due to that we don't have too many methods, but still we have some of the methods which we can use it. So first we can see the count. So this count method will be useful In case of tuple, if a specific number is there, how many number of times. Example, now come back to our tuple. So now let me give here 45 comma 45 and 9. So this is our tuple. Okay, and now I am going to use tuple dot co equal to tup dot count. I am going to use 60 45. So I'm calling a count method, and I'm passing a number inside the tuple. It will return a number saying that the 45 is how many times inside this tuple, how many times it got repeated. So that will be returning, and we are storing the number into co. Okay, let me print it. If you see 45 is there 3 times, right? So that's what we are getting, 3 number. If I pass as a 9, so 9 is there only 2 places, so you will be getting 2. If you pass as 67, it's available only 1 time. If you pass as only 6, you will be getting 0. 6 is not there inside the tuple. So the main use case of count is it will try to count a particular number with inside that tuple, how many times is there, it will return it back, right? So that's a use case of count. Now the last one is index. So the index is mainly useful in case of if you want to find the index of an element. Okay, index. So basically example, now we have a element called 9 here. I want to find the index of 9 and then print the index. So index will start always from 0, right? So now let me run it. If you see, the 9 index is 2 0 1 2. So we are getting the index. Now let me pass as a 45. So the 45 index is 0 because it is the starting element. Now let me run it. So now let me pass as some random number 88. When I'm trying to get the index for 88, it's saying that x is not in tuple. So meaning if the number is not present in the tuple, then you will be getting this value error as x not in tuple. So that is the main use case of index. It will try to find the index for the given number for the corresponding tuple. So this is the two methods is available inside the tuple, which can be useful to find the duplicate number or repeatable number count, and this can be used to find the position or indexing, right? So these are the two methods usages. Okay, now let's come back to the sixth difference, heterogeneity. So what is this? So basically both list and tuple will support multiple data types. Multiple data types, meaning in a list or tuple you can store different data types. It's not only integers, numbers. See example, if you see here, right? So we have here all integers. Now I want to store ABC, and also I want to store a boolean. So numbers, string, boolean. So I am trying to store here three different types of data, and then it's allowing, right? So you can see all the data it's displaying, but let me comment it out and now rerun it. So you can see all the data, it's working fine. So meaning it is supporting multiple data types. Similarly, your tuple also will support multiple data types, right? So now let me run it. So I am going to comment it out, this method, and I am going to print tup. Okay, so here I am trying to add a boolean and string and integers. So basically tuple also supports multiple data types, meaning it's a heterogeneity supporting capability is available in case of list and tuple. So this is one of the similarity. I cannot say this is a difference, but it's a kind of similarity. So now the last seventh one is unpacking. So basically supports unpacking in case of list, meaning so when we have a list of elements, so you can assign the same list to individual elements. Example, now come back to the list. Let me take two elements to make it simple. So in the list we have two elements, right? So if you want to assign these two elements to different elements, so that is possible. Okay, how to do that one? So example, x comma y equal to list, then print x and print y. So what is happening here? So two elements in the same sequence, it will try to attain the x and y, then you can use it. Let me print it. So see, the first element is assigned to the first variable and second element is assigned to second variable. In case if we have three elements here and you are trying to assign only two elements, then it won't allow, it will give an error. So basically there is a too many values here, but there is no that many matching elements, so this is the error you will get. So in this case we are not able to unpack it, so you will be getting unpack error. So if you want to unpack in this case, then you have to pass another third variable, then it will unpack. So if you want to print it, you can copy and you can print it. So this is the way you can able to unpack the list elements to a specific elements and assign it, and you can use it. So now come back to the um, tuple. So tuple also will be supported for the unpacking. Example, let me make it as simple. So I'm going to keep inside my tuple only two elements, okay, and a comma b equal to t u p, and then now print a, print b. So basically this is a tuple and I'm trying to assign unpacking these two elements into two different elements called a b, and then I'm trying to print over here. So it's assigning. Similarly here also, if we have more than one parameter which is not matching to tuple assignment unpacking, then you will be getting too many values, unable to unpack error, so expected to, right? So in this case, if you want to make it success, you have to extract the another variable also into your tuple, and then that will execute successfully, and you can print those assignments also here, and you can see it. So this is called as unpacking. So basically list and tuple will be supporting the unpacking, but the mainly when you want to use unpacking, in that case tuple is preferable, because once the values are assigned to tuple, it cannot be changed. We cannot do reverse sort anything, but whereas in case of list it can be changed. So the assignment will not give accuracy in case of list, though it's assigning, but there is no accuracy of values. But in case of tuple, it's a guarantee, the values cannot change. So always when you're trying to unpack it, so the values will be assigned in a similar manner, it won't change it. So when you want to use the unpacking mechanism, then the best usage is tuple compared to list, because list can change whereas tuple cannot be changed. So that's the reason when you are using unpacking, then go for tuple. Okay, I think these are the seven major differences between a list and tuple. But these are the two. 6 and 7 is kind of similarity, but 7 is not a similarity, but the best use case is tuple in case of unpacking mechanism. Okay, okay, I think these are the basic differences between the list and tuple. Okay, so okay, if you like the video, you can subscribe the channel for more subsequent videos, and thank you so much.